Okay, hello everyone. Thanks for joining the official Jeremy's IT Lab second live stream. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. We have 130 people. Awesome. Even more than last time when we started. Nice. So last time I streamed on Saturday morning from here in Japan. Now it is Saturday night, so it looks like we got a different crowd than last time. I'm seeing a lot of India, some Europe. Yeah, so awesome. Thanks for joining. Let me know in the chat, where are you from? Awesome. Bangladesh, Somalia, Virginia. Nice. Got some Americans in here. Myanmar, Uzbekistan. Awesome. India, Germany, Yemen, Chad, UK, Philippines, Jordan, Israel, Kurdistan, well, all over the world. Great. So thanks so much for joining. The first quiz was a test stream, and we did a 10-question... did I say the first quiz? The first stream was a quiz, and we did 10 practice CCNA questions. This time will be a little different. I'm just going to be talking and telling you about where the course is at, what's coming next, when will the course be done, and things like that. So let's get right into it. So first, this is one of the questions that I'm asked most often. Which topics have we covered on the exam so far? What's coming next? So I have copied all of the CCNA exam topics into a Google Sheet document here. So let me get a link for all of you. 1 second. Okay, so I'll put a link in the chat. You can use this anytime. I will continuously update this so you can check when the course will be complete. 1 second, I just gotta open my own stream. Okay, there we go, posted in the chat. Are you using a mechanical keyboard? Yes, I am. I know it is quite noisy. Apologies for that. Okay, so as you can see here in this document, I have identified 3 levels of completion. White is not yet covered, or I covered the topic slightly. Yellow is I covered the topic some, but it's incomplete. There's still a lot more to cover. And green is covered completely or almost completely. So 95 to 100% of what you need to know for the CCNA. has already been covered. So let's quickly go through the list, and I will, let's see which topics I've completed. First, there is the Network Fundamentals section, 20%. Nice lava lamp. Thank you. It's new. It's not really working that great at the moment, but yeah, seems to be okay. So, Network Fundamentals. Network components. Routers, switches. These are both definitely green. Now, next generation firewalls and IPS. I mentioned these briefly, but we will cover these again later in the security section of the course. So I'm going to give that a yellow. Access points and controllers, haven't covered it all. Endpoints like hosts, PCs, and servers, we have covered those. Oh, we got a new member. Lloyd, thanks for joining the JCNA. If you guys aren't aware, you can click the join button under the video to become a channel member. And you don't really get much for it. You get the little cloud icon next to your name. And if you're at the JCNP level, I shout you out at the end of the videos, but that's about it. It's just a nice way to support me, and I really appreciate it. So thank you to Lloyd for joining. Okay, so this whole section here, 1.1, I'm going to give that a yellow, since we've covered some of the topics in here, but not completely. Okay, network topology architectures. I haven't covered these at all. This will be coming up soon, but I haven't touched it yet. I'll leave it white. Interface types. I have talked about fiber, copper, different connections here. These will be green. PoE I have not covered yet, so I'm going to give 1.3 a yellow. Interface and cable issues. I'm giving these a yellow also. We covered these briefly, but not in great detail. And then these here, TCP to UDP, definitely that is a green. IPv4 addressing and subnetting, that is also green. If you're following my course, you should know these topics well by now. Private IPv4 addressing. I will cover these in the NAT section of the course, coming up soon, but I haven't mentioned them yet. All this IPv6 stuff, I cover that in depth. That is definitely green. Client OS. I've talked about Windows quite a bit, but Mac and Linux not so much. I'm going to give this a yellow. Next, wireless. Haven't covered yet. That is coming towards the end of the course. Virtualization, not yet. But switching, all of these ones are green. Okay, so that's the first section of the CCNA exam topics. We've covered most of them, but there's still quite a lot to cover in this first network fundamentals section, 20%. All right, let's take a break. Let me take a look at the chat. Oh, got another member. Thank you very much. How do I pronounce that? Sergey? Thanks so much. Join the JCNA program. JCNA, by the way, means Jeremy Certified Network Associate. Very prestigious network certification. I promise you that. Not really, though. Okay, we got a question from Wolf. What is the point of having so many different types of IPv6 addresses? Can't everything be done with just the IPv6 host address plus link address? Well, IPv4 has a lot of different addresses too, like private addresses, which I haven't covered, link local, there's regular public addresses, multicast addresses. Yeah, if something exists, it exists for a reason, and yeah, I can't really give a much more detailed answer right now, but yeah, those different types, they aren't pointless. They have their uses. Alberto, are you posting the link in Discord, I guess, correct? Which link are you talking about there? Okay, so anyways, I'll check the chat again in a bit. Let's go to section 2 here, network access. So this is all about layer 2 mostly. So switching, VLANs, things like that. So for example, configure and verify VLANs. access ports, default VLAN connectivity. These are definitely green. We've covered these pretty much in depth. I haven't mentioned voice VLANs. That will be coming up later, but for the most part, this is green. Interswitch connectivity. Trunk ports, no problem. 802.1q, native VLAN, no problem. These are both green. Okay, layer 2 discovery protocols, CDP and LLDP. These are both green. These are covered. Ether channel, definitely green. And here we are at spanning tree. That is also green. Okay, so we covered the switching part of the course pretty in depth. So this is all green. I think we don't really need to make any more videos about these topics. Now, 6 to 9, 2.6 to 2.9, this is all wireless. And I have not touched wireless yet, as I said before. That will be coming towards the end of the course. Okay, so that was section 2.0, network access. This is also 20%, so a big portion of the exam is your layer 2 stuff. Switching and wireless. Okay, next is IP connectivity. Let me just take a break and check out the chat. Hey, I got a question. Will your videos be in order and be tagged in sections like how Professor Messer does? Well, the order will be the order I have the days in. Day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that. And as I update this document here, I think I will go through and put in links to the videos that cover those sections, just so it makes it easier to reference. What are you drinking? This is just some tea. What is it? It's ginger and rooibos tea. It's pretty good. I would be drinking coffee, but it's 10 p.m. here in Japan, so if I have a cup of coffee now, I'm not going to be able to sleep. IPv6 is important. Yes, it is. Very important. So it is covered in the exam topics here. This is all IPv6. And also in the IP connectivity section, there is IPv6. So you definitely have to know it for the exam. Do we have to buy a book for CCNA? You don't have to, but I highly recommend it. So I think I mentioned this in my last live stream. I recommend having a video course. That could be my course. It could be Neil Anderson's, David Bomble's, whoever. Have a video course. Books. So you can use either the official cert guides by Wendell Odom or Todd Lamley's books. Either is fine, whichever you want. And then finally, practice exams. And I recommend Boson XSIM for your practice exams. Whoa, we got a question from the one and only Network Chuck. Hey, Jeremy, do you speak Japanese? Yes, I do. So I've been living in Japan for almost exactly 7 years. And yeah, my job's like 99% Japanese. It is an American company, but my daily duties are all Japanese. Thanks for joining. It's an honor to have Network Chuck here in the stream. I got my CCNA like 3 years ago, less than 3 years ago. And Network Chuck's videos were a big inspiration when I was studying for my CCNA. So he's one of the reasons that I'm where I am today. So big shout out to Chuck. Thank you very much. Okay, let's continue with this overview of the course progress. So section 3.0, IP connectivity, 25%. So this is a really big section. It's all about routing protocols, static routing, things like that. So interpret the components of routing table. I have covered this in multiple videos. And also last week's quiz. I actually covered this quite a bit. So if you're having problems here, I recommend watching that stream. I explained some of the detailed points about that. How a router makes a forwarding decision by default. Longest match, AD, and metric. Yep, we've covered all of these. So I'll highlight that green. Here, one sec. Let me put the link to this once more in the chat for those of you who just joined, so you can follow along. IPv4 and IPv6 static routing. Those are green. OSPF. Yep, we covered that pretty in depth. And FHRPs, that's HSRP, VRRP, and GLBP, green. So this entire section 3.0, that is a green. This is all complete. I don't really need to make any more videos about this, I think, for the course. And I forgot about this. Let me make section 2.0 yellow since it's not totally complete. Oh, we got a super chat. Savage OP. How can we meet you in Japan? You can meet me at Shinagawa Station when I'm going to work. Who knows? Maybe I'll have some official meetup eventually, but I don't know how many viewers I have in Japan. Not all that many, I think. Sergey says, what about the automation section, Jeremy? Okay, so that will be at the very end of the course. I'm planning to do that one last. Hi, Jeremy. What did you do before networking? Actually, I was an English teacher. So as I said, I have been in Japan for about 7 years. And for about 5 years of that, I was teaching English at a junior high school in Kobe, Japan. All right, let's go to section 4.0, IPv services, IP services, sorry. So this is what I'm working on right now at this point in the course. So I have covered most of these, I think, but not all of them. So NTP, DHCP, SNMP, syslog, more DHCP. I'm going to make all these green, as well as SSH. Now, some of you who are following the course on YouTube, you might be a little confused here because I think the SNMP videos, the syslog videos, definitely not the SSH videos. These videos haven't yet gone on YouTube, but they are available on Teachable. So if you're not aware, I am uploading videos also here on Teachable, jeremysitlab.teachable.com. Here it is, CCNA complete course. So it isn't actually totally finished, but there are more videos here than on YouTube. So on YouTube, I think we have up to day 39. But here on Teachable, if you check out the course content here on the sales page, I have up to day, let me see, 42. So that's 3 extra days which aren't yet released on YouTube. Okay, so anyway, let's return. IPv services. So I have covered all of these. I'm currently working on the TFTP, FTP video. And then I'll go for QoS and NAT after that. Okay, so that's IP services. I will make that yellow. We've covered most of it, but not all of it. Okay, let me take a chat break. Good question. Do you watch anime? Not really. I watch a little bit. If you see my sweater here, this is actually a Dragon Ball Z sweater. So yeah, occasionally I watch anime, but I wouldn't call myself an anime fan. Jeremy, which is your least favorite topic in the CCNA if you had to choose? Wireless, I'd say. I've actually heard Network Chuck talking about this recently, about how much he hates studying for wireless, and I agree completely. I don't know what it is about it. It's just not interesting for me, but we got to learn it. So yeah, so that's that. Oh, another question, Jonathan. Hi, Jeremy. What's the difference between the free course on YouTube and the paid Teachable course? Okay, so I actually have a short FAQ on that on the sales page here. Teachable versus YouTube. Okay, so first of all, no YouTube ads, so you can watch the videos without ads, uninterrupted. No delays, so as soon as the video is made, I put it right on Teachable. So it says here, usually 4 to 5 weeks before going on YouTube. So there's usually 4 or 5 videos available on Teachable, which aren't yet on YouTube. Currently, there are actually 6. So if you want to get the videos a little more quickly, you can get the course on Teachable. Bonus quizzes. So I put a usually 5 to 10 question bonus quiz at the end of the videos. on the YouTube videos. But in Teachable, I also add multiple choice bonus quizzes here. So you can see here, bonus quiz VLANs, VLANs part 3, DTP, VTP, STP. So you get bonus quizzes on Teachable. Mobile download only for iOS, unfortunately, but you can use the Teachable app on iOS and download the videos on there. And I also put at the end detailed Q&A. I get a lot of YouTube comments and questions, so sometimes it's hard to really spend the time to give detailed answers. But on Teachable, I have more time. I can take the time to really give you in-depth answers where necessary. So that's Teachable. Okay, anyways, let's continue with this course progress check. So security fundamentals. I have not started this section yet, but there is actually a little bit I have covered. We have covered ACLs, so I will make that one green. And in addition to that, access control using local passwords is this one here. I'm going to give that yellow. I still want to cover more about users and privilege levels, but I did cover, enable password and username, password, things like that. Okay, but we'll get to this section later. And then finally, automation and programmability. That is 10% of the exam. I have not covered this yet at all, so I'm going to leave this totally white. So that is the course progress. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can get a bigger view. So you can see about how many topics I have covered and how many topics are left to cover. So the CCNA is a very big exam. There's a lot of stuff to cover. But I have covered most of the main, the big topics. So for example, IP connectivity, that's 25%. Network access, 20%. Network fundamentals, 20%. So I've covered most of these main core topics, but new things like wireless, security, and automation I have not covered yet. Okay, so before moving on, I'll just post the link to this once more in the chat. And you can access this link anytime you want, and I will update it as I complete the course. I get a lot of questions, about when will the course be finished, what's next, what topics have you covered, what topics haven't you covered. So hopefully this will help answer those questions. Okay, so let's move on. Here's a question. What is the pass mark for CCNA? So I think it is 825 usually. I'm pretty sure. Out of 1,000. Oh, here's a question. What is the best simulation tools? If you can't afford Cisco Viral or Modeling Labs. Okay, so well, simulation refers to things like Packet Tracer or like Boson NetSim. So if you want something free, I think Packet Tracer is by far the best. But if you're looking for something a level up, a level above that, you want an emulator like Cisco CML, Cisco Modeling Labs, that is, or EVE-NG or GNS3. So GNS3 and EVE-NG are free. The programs are free. But in order to run Cisco devices in those programs, in those emulators, you have to have the Cisco iOS image files. And those are not free. You have to pay for them. You have to buy them from Cisco. So one way to do that is to buy CML, buy Cisco Modeling Labs, and then download the images from that and use it in GNS3. But then, you might as well just use CML, unless you prefer GNS3. So there may or may not be ways to get a hold of those images without paying for them, but that is not something that I want to talk about or encourage. Okay, Jonathan, will you update your labs to the newer version of Packet Tracer? No, because the newer version of Packet Tracer can run labs from all versions, so I don't really see any need to update the files. If you have version 8.0, which I think is the newest one, you should be able to run all of my files. If ever, if Packet Tracer keeps updating and then you become unable to run my old files, then I will consider updating them to the newer version. Okay, so what are we doing next here? So I just gave a brief overview of the topics I've covered so far and the topics I haven't covered. Now the big question, when will the course be finished? So the remaining areas are, or the main remaining areas are security, wireless, and automation. And this is the order I plan to cover them. So currently I'm doing I keep saying IPv services. IP services. And once I finish that section, then I will go on to security, then wireless, then automation, like that. So currently the course has 42 days, 42 available on Teachable, and 39 on YouTube. And I estimate there will be maybe 10 to 15 more days of material. I say 10, but now that I say it, I think it's going to be more like 15 more days of material. And the course will be finished by the end of the summer, I think. So it's March now, right? Yeah, it's March. So maybe 4 months. If something happens and I don't have a lot of time, it might be 5 or 6 months, but I think about 4 more months will be enough for me to finish the course. Oh, these two came together. Okay. Sorry, I forgot the slide animations, whatever. So no animations for this slide. Let's just read from the top. What's next? Even after I finish the course, I will continue making videos for the course to improve it and fill in any gaps. For example, there are some minor points I might have missed on certain topics. I'll make a video just to cover that point. It will be a short video, like 5 or 10 minutes, just to fill in that gap, to make sure you're ready for the CCNA exam. And I will call these, as you can see here, the second point. I will call these patch lessons, like a patch to just fill in the hole, fill in the gap. So they will cover any missing topics. So there will be, let's say, a few, like interface errors. That's something I briefly mentioned earlier in the course, but I didn't really cover it in depth. So I will make a patch lesson for interface errors, things like runts, run frames, giant frames, things like that. I will also make some patch lessons to provide more depth if I miss some points about a topic. I mentioned that briefly. And in some cases, they will go slightly beyond the scope of the CCNA, just like bonus lessons, things you might want to know, like maybe a brief introduction to BGP or something like that. I will also make additional troubleshooting labs because troubleshooting is really important, not only in real life, solving real problems, but for the CCNA exam. You'll get a lot of questions like you get a show command output, and then you have to say what's wrong, like why won't these two devices become OSPF neighbors or something like that. So you have to be good at interpreting show commands, knowing what's the problem, and knowing how to fix the problem. So even if I will finish the CCNA course, by the end of the summer, as I say here, I expect to continue making CCNA videos until the end of the year. So I'll make those patch lessons, filling in gaps, adding bonus content, things like that. Probably until the end of this year, I will be making some kind of CCNA video. And then after that, I intend to make CCNP level material for the CCNP Enterprise, Encore, and NRC exams. So for those of you who don't know, to get a CCNP certification, you have to pass one core exam. So for the CCNP Enterprise, that is the Encore, that is Enterprise Core. And then you have to pass one specialization, one concentration exam. And the most common one is NRC, which is Enterprise, I think it's Advanced Routing and Switching. I think so. That might be wrong. Now, will I make complete courses for those exams? Maybe. I'll have to think about that. So this CCNA course is the first course I've ever made. And as you all know, it's taking quite a lot of time. I work full-time as a network engineer, and I make these videos in my spare time. So the pace is quite slow. And taking on another complete course, I'll have to think about that. If I do make a complete course, it will probably be Encore. Okay, and that's it. That's what's next. So I covered when will the course be finished. It will be end of the summer probably, maybe 3 or 4 months. And then what's next? make extra videos for the CCNA, covering any missing topics or missing points, things like that. And then continue making CCNA videos until the end of the year. And then next year, start on CCNP level material. That's what's up. And I also covered the topics we've covered at this point in the course. And that's about it. That's all I really had planned. It's been about 30 minutes, so maybe I'll answer some questions, hang out a little bit, and then call it a night. I like going to bed early, so it's a little late for me. Okay, so let's answer some questions. Jonathan says, Encore next after CCNA. Yeah, I think that's probably the one I'll do next. For most people, that's the first choice of what they want to do after the CCNA. Let me just scroll up, see if I missed any other comments. Can you share that sheet? Yes, I can. I posted a link in the chat. I'll post it again, and I'll also share it around. There we go. Just posted it once more in the chat. Whoa, hey Jeremy. I followed you and I did what you said and I got almost double salary. Awesome. Congrats. Sorry if I can't pronounce your name correctly. Kiran Kumar? That's awesome, man. Double salary? Great. So I guess maybe you got your CCNA and then changed jobs or got a promotion, something like that. Awesome. Good job, man. Okay, Muhammad. You're asking that a lot. Don't spam, but I will answer your question. Can you give me the best place or tutor to study CCNP Encore? So I have the CCNP, but when I got my CCNP, it was the previous version of the exam, the CCNP routing and switching, and that certification has now been retired. So I don't actually know what's best to study for the CCNP Encore because I haven't done it myself. So what is there to say? I think a good place to start is just the official cert guides. But note that at the CCNP level, you have to do a lot more research on your own. So you have to be able to Google, you have to be able to search through Cisco documentation and read it. You have to be able to read through standard documentation like RFCs, Internet Documentation. A CCNP course isn't going to give you everything you need, so you have to be more independent as you progress from CCNA to CCNP, and definitely at CCIE. There's no single course that's going to give you everything you need to know to become a CCIE, for example. Okay, from Mr. Graphic. Hi, Jeremy. What about dynamic routing? The old version of the exam, I guess it has more of the dynamic. Thank you. Yes, so the old CCNA routing and switching had a lot more dynamic routing. On the current version, the only one in the exam topics list is here, OSPF 3.4. Configure and verify single area OSPF version 2. So I did cover RIP and EIGRP, and also briefly mentioned ISIS and BGP. But yeah, for the current version, you only need to know OSPF. And what days was OSPF? I think maybe 26, 27, 28. That might be wrong, but yeah, I did cover OSPF in 3 videos. Hi, Jeremy. Will you upload anything from the CCNA security in the future? Well, if you're talking about the CCNA security certification, that has been retired. There is no more CCNA security certification. There's only one CCNA. That is the 200-301 exam code. But there is the security fundamental section of that exam, of the CCNA exam, and I will cover those topics soon. Will there be lab questions in the CCNA exam? No. There was on the previous version of the exam, but in my experience and in everyone else's experience, there are no more lab questions, no more simulation questions, which I find a little disappointing. They were fun, but yeah, it might be better not to have them because those previous simulations of the exam were actually quite easy and they gave you a lot of points. So I think the exam might actually be a little more challenging without them. Liam, are you currently studying for CCIE? I was studying, but currently no, not at the moment. That's a big time commitment, and honestly, I think it would be impossible for me to do my job working full time as a network engineer, plus YouTube, plus studying for the CCIE, and then plus my regular life outside of tech, things like that. So CCIE definitely someday, but not quite yet, no. Jeremy, what's the most common thing you do in your regular day job? Most common thing. So let's see. So I basically work in managed services. So I provide services for various companies. So for example, a daily task might be I get a configuration change request, and then I have to do set up like a test environment with some routers and switches, mimicking the customer's network, run some tests, things like that. And then once I've done the tests, I get it all checked by one of my seniors. And then we do the configuration change the next day or 2 days after that. So that's like a configuration change. And I also design networks for new customers or customers who want to expand the network. To really explain that well, I'd have to think about it more. So I think that's a good topic for a future video, actually. So I will consider something like that, like daily life of a network engineer or things like that. Oh, hi, sir. When do you think the CCNA course will be completed? I just answered that. But if you just started watching the stream, I'll say once more, probably the end of the summer, the CCNA course will be complete. Hi, Jeremy. Do you do mentorships? No, not really. That's just another time commitment that I just don't want to take on at the moment. There might be something in the future, but not right now. If you do have questions as you're studying, I recommend joining my Discord server. I'm going to put the link in the chat. I often don't have time to, give detailed answers or answer back and forth with people on YouTube. So if you really want to ask a detailed question or you want to ask like follow-up questions, Discord is definitely the way to go. And it's not just me on there. There are a lot of people on there who actually know a lot more about networking than I do, who are there to answer your questions. And they're all really helpful, so I highly recommend it. Jeremy, sir, are you also uploading a CCNP course? I just answered that before, but to briefly touch it again, yes, probably. After the CCNA, I'll start on some CCNP material. Requiem, Jeremy, doesn't the ISP design the networks for the companies, or do we have to do everything ourselves? No, the ISP won't design your network. So, they design their internal network, the ISP's network, but they don't design the customer's networks, unless they add that as like an additional service. It's usually not like part of the standard service. So like you have like your main company here and maybe multiple branches. So you connect to the ISP and they connect to your branches, but they don't actually touch your network. They don't design inside your own network like that. Okay, guys, I'm getting kind of tired. It's late here in Japan. So, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I do enjoy these live streams. This is just the second one, but it has been a good time. So I'm definitely going to do it again. I can't say exactly when I will do it, but hopefully a couple times a month. So let's say the next one will be in maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and I'll think about what the next topic will be. So the first one, I did a quiz. This one is like an update on the progress of the course. And maybe for the third one, I'll do some like live labs, maybe some troubleshooting or configuration labs, something like that. I think it would be fun to prepare the lab file beforehand, give you guys a link so you can download it, and then we could maybe go through and troubleshoot the lab together at the same time. I think that would be fun, sort of more interactive. Okay, yeah, so thanks so much. I appreciate you guys taking the time, 40 minutes of your time. Yeah, thanks so much for joining. Yeah, it's just awesome to have over 200 of you here watching live. And if you couldn't watch live and if you're watching the recording afterwards, again, same. Thanks so much for your time. And I will, yeah, check out and go to bed. Good morning, good day, good night. Talk to you guys soon.